Then the arc starts coming to a close and Fungolian turns out to not be dead, just in very, very critical condition. I'm a little disappointed he's not dead, but I'm a One Piece fan, so I'm used to that sort of thing. Honestly, this arc is pretty weird for me because while it isn't actually bad, it's pretty good. It isn't until the last quarter that becomes a great arc. Like if I was just judging that latter portion, it'd be an easy 9 out of 10 arc, but the stuff before it just doesn't really hit as much as it did in the last arc. This part is going to be pretty short because there isn't much that's outright bad about this arc. I straight up didn't like Gouache at all. I hope I pronounced that right. He gets a bit better towards the end, but a large portion of it, he's borderline unbearable. If you like Gouache, then, you know, more power to you. But for me, I just felt like he's the weakest of the Black Bulls so far, even more so than Charmy. And if you watch my last video, you know how I feel about Charmy. I genuinely did not understand the point of having Charmy in this arc at all. Unfortunately for Gouache, he also has arguably the lamest fight so far, which doesn't really help his case. I'm sure the fight with the snow guy was only really meant to be a skirmish, but compared to the other skirmishes and clashes we've got, it was still on the weaker side. And what made that suck even more is how cool both the snow and mirror magic are. Speaking of the snow dude though, Asta wanting to be his friend seemed kind of odd. Not really out of character, but just odd. Like, this dude kidnapped kids and led to them losing their magic. It's kind of unforgivable to me, but it is what it is. The captain showing up at the end was also a little convenient, but it also makes sense because Noel called them, so, you know, whatever, it's fine, I guess. And finally, I felt like the traitor reveal was a big waste, mainly because I don't know who this dude is, nor do I give a fuck about him. I wish it was set up or something, because as it is right now, it's kind of just wasted potential. The arc has a pretty slow start at the mixer, but the comedy makes up for that, and Asta shows off why he's goated, so that helps too. Noel following Asta could have been annoying, but so far it's done well enough to still be funny. And I actually expected Noel to be a bigger part of this arc, and you could argue that she is since she calls the Knights later on, but if I could trade her for Gouache, I would 100%. The snowfall leading kids to a cave to get their magic stolen was also grim as fuck, and from this alone I assumed I would love this arc more than I actually did. Almost every new character introduced in this arc also had an amazing design, from the older brother to Lich. They all just look straight amazing. I was casually vibing with this arc from the start all the way up until the brothers got defeated, but it wasn't until this queen showed up that I actually got invested. Her slime magic is sick as fuck, and I think it's wild how she can almost deflect / block any spell thrown at her. She kind of gives me Toga vibes, which isn't bad since I really like Toga. The reveal of the nun being a former magic knight was cool, and it adds to the world without being too important to the plot. Her joining Fagolian and her flame leopard were also pretty cool. When Best Girl turned the older brother into this mud monster after everyone just watched her inject him without doing anything. The art of almost every panel of him is beautifully done. I don't want to say that it's Tabata's best art so far, but I think it's Tabata's most consistent great art so far. Asta reminding Gouache that they fight on a team and shit like that was pretty nice. I still don't like Gouache, but them fighting together is hard not to like, especially when it results in Mirror Slash, which is my new favorite panel in the entire manga. This shit is straight up masterful. Gouache's Mirror Eye was also pretty crazy. I still kind of want to know more of what it does first. We finally meet our main villain, I think, since they allude to another mainer villain, but what's more important is that he has a 4-leaf grimoire, and he makes an entrance by wiping out not only the little brother, but the nun and Gouache almost instantly with these light beam sword things. Lich, our main villain, confirms that Asta's grimoire is important. We all knew that, but he mentions that it belongs to this master, so I guess that's cool. Like I said, I'm rarely into Chosen One stuff, but I do like that we're learning more about it. It was also super saddening to see my queen so hurt. It nearly pushed me onto Lich's side, seeing her like that. And then Yami shows up out of fucking nowhere to block one of these light arrow attacks from Lich. He wasn't even in my top 5 characters before this, and I was super excited to see him, and I think that just shows how hyped the moment was. His fighting style is just amazing, like it's literal perfection. The art for it is awesome, and the solid black slashes look insane in the manga panels. That village massacre story was really interesting, and I like the route Tabata is going, where we question the validity of Clover Kingdom, and the expansion of the magic system with Ki was pretty cool. Asta learning it so fast was a little ass pulley, but it's whatever. I'd take that over a training arc any day. Looking at you, my hero. Asta decking that scrawny dude through a portal was also fucking hilarious, and Gouache coming back to reflect Lich's beam was cool too. I really like that Lich isn't actually the strongest in his group. It's revealed that the third eye are the strongest. It's pretty unique, and I vibe with that because you don't see it too often. The final blow Asta and Yami did on Lich was also insane. I really love the confidence that Yami has in Asta's ability, and the fact that Lich still has potential to be stronger because of that explosion thing. It just gets me hyped to see him again, and I really hope he fights Julius at some point so we can see them going at it. Speaking of Julius, we do see him at the end, and he asks Asta to help him with his anti-magic to remove some protection spell on the prisoners. That was pretty cool. I like that Asta's magic or non-magic is starting to be more important in the grander scheme of things. And Julius's relationship with Yami is endearing, plus he is super funny. Honestly, like, I really like Julius, even though we rarely see him that often. The ending is good, and the setup of the third eye disguised as a captain and what happened to that captain was a great cliffhanger to end on. I really can't describe why I feel iffy on this arc. It had all the aspects I would love, but the arc itself is kind of disappointing all the way up until the baddie shows up. And even then, as much as I love her, it's sort of on the level of the Capital Invasion arc when she's there. It isn't actually until Lich shows up that the arc starts to get really insane. This is still a great arc, but I'd still put the Capital Assault arc above this one. They're really close, and maybe on a reread I'll like this one a little more. That's about it though. I did leave out some smaller stuff because I wanted to keep the video under 6 to 7 minutes. So if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. As per usual, new Black Clover video next Sunday. See ya.